Welcome back, The Deep Dive. You know, if you were hoping for a quiet off-season in golf,
Yeah.
maybe just a little time to recharge, well, think again.
Yeah, not a chance.
The last week of November, from the 24th to the 30th, was anything but quiet. The biggest headlines weren't about a final putt. They were about who was signing a contract, who was overhauling the entire system.
Exactly. The whole focus has pivoted. We're not debating strokes gained anymore, are we? We're analyzing merger talks, the global scramble for ranking points, and, these unprecedented financial deals that are going to redefine golf for 2026.
And that's our mission today. We want to cut through all that noise. We've got this whole stack of sources you brought in, the articles, the insider reports, and we're going to pull out what you really need to know.
Right. This is your shortcut to understanding the seismic shifts happening in the boardrooms.
So let's start with what actually happened on the course, because even with all this future talk, the 2025 season had a pretty dramatic finish.
It really did.
The competitive wrap-up, for instance. The sources really zeroed in on Sami Valimäki. He got his first ever PGA Tour win at the RSM Classic. I mean, what a breakthrough for him.
A huge moment. And that's the beautiful but also brutal contrast of the FedEx Cup fall, isn't it? For every Valimäki who celebrates,
Right.
there's someone on the other side of it. The sources really highlighted the emotion of it all, specifically Justin Lower's reaction. Just tears after he narrowly missed keeping his full card for 2026.
Oh, that was tough to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, these are career-defining moments playing out right there for everyone to see.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side, you had guys quietly securing their future. J.J. Spawn, for example. He sort of emerged as this surprise star of the year, just consistently stacking up top finishes.
The kind of year that solidifies your spot without one huge, flashy win.
Exactly. But the story wasn't just on the PGA Tour. The influence of competing tours on the international stage was, well, it was really clear.
You're talking about David Puig.
I am. One of the younger LIV talents, and he just puts on a commanding performance at the Australian PGA Championship. He didn't just win. He claimed that big $1.6 million prize.
And that win, it felt significant beyond just the money. Looking at the context, that was the second straight year a young LIV player has won that event.
That's the key point. It really underscores how that circuit is, making real inroads into markets that used to be dominated by the traditional tours. It's about establishing credibility.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit to the exhibitions. The skins game was on, Keegan Bradley dominated, but the real chatter, funnily enough, was about Dader Schofel.
Yeah, the $0 paycheck.
Right. And after the incredible year he had in 2024, seeing him walk away with nothing, it immediately got people talking. Is this just an off week, or is it a sign for his 2026 prep?
It's a fair question. Is it just an off-season slump or something more? When the margins are so tight at that level, any dip in form, even in an unofficial event, it gets put under the microscope.
And before we get into the really big structural stuff, we should probably touch on a few of the, let's call them, simmering controversies. First, slow play. Again.
It never goes away.
It never goes away. Then there was some pretty pointed criticism directed at Jordan Spieth. Some analysts use some really harsh language suggesting his moves were, and this is a quote, corroding the PGA Tour's integrity.
Which just shows you the pressure these top guys are under. Every decision about their schedule, their loyalty, it's all scrutinized.
And lastly, a reminder that the game is bigger than just the tours. Environmental issues in Hawaii, water scarcity specifically, cost a really famous course a major tournament.
A stark reminder that even with all the money in the world, some things are out of your control.
Okay, so let's transition to the core of it all, the business narrative. This is where the really radical changes are happening.
It is. And what's fascinating is that despite all the uncertainty with mergers, the financial foundation for some of these tours looks incredibly solid.
Yeah, that number from the DP World Tour was just eye-popping. A 10-year record-breaking title sponsorship extension. They're calling it their largest ever. That's a massive vote of confidence.
It is, but here's the duality of it. That 10-year deal provides immense stability, right? A long runway to plan.
Of course.
But the critical question is, does that huge commitment hold up if a PGA Tour LIV merger actually happens and, maybe reduces the DP World Tour to more of a feeder circuit? That stability could be tested.
That's a great point. And it wasn't just the tours getting big checks. We saw Patrick Mahomes, the NFL superstar, expanding his footprint in golf with a new endorsement deal.
Which is just brilliant marketing. It brings a whole new audience, new eyeballs, and new money into the game.
And all this money is flowing right as the PGA Tour is apparently thinking about, well, radical surgery on its own schedule.
Let's unpack that, because this was the real shockwave from the sources. PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolapp confirming they are looking at slashing the schedule down to 20 events.
20. That is just an incredible reduction. What does a change like that even signal?
Well, a few things. First, it's quality over quantity. It consolidates all the power into a few signature events. Second, it's a strategic move to please the top stars who've wanted fewer commitments.
But what about the other events, the ones that get cut?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It strengthens the top of the pyramid, but potentially weakens everything below it. And the sources made it clear these cuts are all being discussed in the context of unification of that potential merger.
So unification is the end goal, but what's driving the changes right now is this desperate chase for legitimacy, the OWGR problem.
Right. And that leads us to the big update from LIV Golf.
Shifting to 72-hole events starting in 2026. This feels like it's aimed squarely at the ranking committee.
Oh, it's 100% a calculated tactical pivot. The OWGR system is built around 72-hole events with a cut. By adopting that format, LIV is basically trying to remove the main structural argument against them.
So when you see Rory McIlroy calling it a cool update, even if he has other questions, that tells you the strategy is having an effect.
Exactly. And the analysis that came with this news was really interesting. They ran simulations showing this one format change could give huge ranking boosts to guys like Bryson DeChambeau. It would give them a clear path back into the majors.
So the rules of the game are now part of the game between the tours.
Quite literally.
This structural maneuvering is happening at the same time as all this player movement. Lias is clearly still recruiting. They signed Victor Perez, Laurie Cantor.
And there are reports they're expanding their fields to 57 players. The market for top talent is still really aggressive.
And for those players, the endorsement deals are just as important. The sources had some fun details on apparel shifts. Bryson DeChambeau making a big move to Reebok.
And you see other stars aligning with new brands. Max Homa, Ricky Fowler. They're signing with Cobra, Puma, Ernst & Young. These aren't just logos on a shirt.
Right, this is their financial foundation.
Absolutely. These are multi-year, multi-million-dollar investments that anchor a player's earnings. For a brand like Reebok to get Bryson, they're buying into his whole, scientist-athlete brand. It's a very sophisticated marketing play.
And before we get to tech, we have to mention a really important off-course development. The Grayson Murray Foundation started a new scholarship fund at Hazelton Betty Ford.
A wonderful initiative. It's expanding access to addiction treatment, creating a meaningful legacy. It's so important for the conversation around mental health in sports.
It really is. Okay, shifting to technology, because this is where you see massive operational commitments being made. And for the LPGA, this was a huge week.
A huge step forward, yes. The new multi-year broadcast partnership they signed. It's monumental because it ensures full live coverage starting in 2026.
Which has been a struggle for women's golf for years.
For years. This deal means unprecedented visibility. Every shot, every key moment will be captured, and it's all enhanced with integrated TrackMan data for the viewer. It's a game changer.
And speaking of data, all the tours are doubling down. LIV expanded its deal with TrackMan. But the one that caught my eye was Amazon Web Services, AWS, becoming the official cloud provider for the DP World Tour.
That AWS deal is huge. It sounds a little dry, maybe, but it signifies a massive investment in data infrastructure. Everything from scoring to logistics to broadcast. To compete globally now, you need that kind of power. The game is just fundamentally data-driven.
And finally, let's look at the talent pipeline. It's not always coming from the traditional path anymore. We saw Brad Dock making waves off tour.
I saw that. A record-breaking -24 in a YouTube Break 50 challenge. It's just jaw-dropping stuff.
And that kind of performance, broadcast on social media, it completely changes how you can build a career. You can earn credibility outside the official tours now.
And that innovation is starting even younger. The Golf Week Junior Tour launched a simulator series, and it drew over 3,000 players.
Wow.
It signals a future where tech and golf are just deeply integrated right from the junior level.
Which brings us to the close of a week where, I think it's fair to say, the business of golf totally overshadowed the birdies.
I think that's fair.
So as we look ahead to this next week, December 1st through the 7th, the calendar still has this really interesting mix of competition and intrigue.
Yep, your main focus should probably be the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas, Tiger's event. It's a limited, no-cut field with stars like Scottie Scheffler. It's a perfect early form check for 2026.
And of course, everyone will be watching for any news on Tiger himself.
Naturally. You've also got the Skechers World Champions Cup for the veterans, and for anyone watching the global chess match, keep an eye out for more merger updates and LIV's prep for their debut in Africa.
So if we synthesize this whole week, what's the core narrative?
For me, it's this collision. You have the stability of these record-breaking sponsorships like that 10-year DP World Tour deal crashing right into these radical proposals for change, slashing the PGA Tour schedule, shifting to 72 holes purely for ranking points. Every single move is a high-stakes play for the future.
It's a battle between financial confidence and a complete competitive revolution. So here's the thought I want to leave you with.
Okay.
Given this massive industry investment in data and global reach, and this strategic push for unification, will the decisions being made right now, like cutting the schedule or changing formats, will they ultimately redefine what the game values more? Deep-rooted tradition and history, or a globally consistent, high-stakes, data-driven spectacle?
That balance. That is what's going to shape the next decade of the sport.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you next time.